So I was swimming today, and there were moments where I would go really deep down, and the deeper I went, the more still everything seemed. There's this plant life that was just suspended. Tiny underwater flowers, like real flowers, underwater. And all of these seemingly suspended fish, 50 of them. And after my swim, I meditated. And I was watching the same thing happen in like a less dense space. Now, water is less dense than earth. Fire is less dense than water. Air is less dense than fire. Light is less dense. No, sound is less dense than air. Light is less dense than sound. And then ether is less dense than light. Ether or thought. I just went up the energetic elemental system from earth to water to fire to air to sound to light to ether or thought. None of this is planned. I'm sharing in the moment thoughts and feelings because I just have the coolest experience in this less dense space. And that's what I want to share. I mean, if I'm finding something that's helpful and really interesting, fascinating, and I've been on a mission for a long time to get free, just to get more and more free. I don't feel like living a lie. That seems stupid. I don't know. Like, why? If you had a choice, I guess that's why I was drawn to yoga as a liberation practice. The practice, and a lot of the practice, I mean, I've seen in the United States, it's focused on the physical shapes. Okay. And breathing, linking the breath to the movement, vinyasa. Some mudras, hand gestures like yoga for the hands, mantra or mantra, potato. The repetition of sound. But it's just this huge practice. It's deep and it's vast and I guess I'm seeing life through the lens of yoga now. After I graduated from my first big professional degree, it was long. My focus was poetry, and that was my lens. And I still have that lens. I was seeing it today swimming, and as soon as I looked at the time, it was 4:44. Interesting side note. Timer. And I noticed today, underwater, that lens is still there. But now it's like I've got bifocals. There's this yoga poetry, and poetry really just seems like it's the realm of metaphysics. The medium a lot of poets use is words and form. Anyway, this is the long way around of saying, when I was in my meditative state after the swim, there was this little voice in my head, and it said, I want to be free. And some voice responded, and it was like, so be free. And I was like, but how? And it was like, well, just do it. I was like, oh, come on. It's got to be more difficult than that. And then that other little voice was like, didn't you one day just go to that cold water you were so afraid of jumping into? And now it's like the easiest thing in the world. And you can't wait for it. Every single day, it's like the experience becomes more and more gratifying. No problem with the cold air, with the cold water, none. This has been a big fear for a long time. I'm from South Florida. I'm from just like a tropical place where things are warm. And my fear was if I got too cold, I'd die. I'd be miserable. I'd be uncomfortable. I'd die. I was like, not going to happen. But I faced the fear one day. And it's not like the fear went away right away, but pretty darn quickly. Like I was living with the reality of, like, the experience itself. I was like, the water's not that cold. My belief was that it was freezing. But without the story, the actual experience was, this is all right. No, this isn't. It didn't match the story I had in my head. And then you can swim really hard and your body internally warms up. Last thing I'll share. So I'm in that meditative space. And I just saw, I heard like, I want to be free, be it. What do you mean? But how? That I could see that word in my mind's eye. I'm not having an actual hallucination. In my mind's eye, I saw the word believe. And like I just saw it, and I was like, believe, okay. And I saw the BE, the state of being, not doing, it's being. Existing in awareness. And then I saw that word lie, like within the word believe. And I was like, a lie. Okay. Lie versus truth, which is where a lot of my thinking lies. More to say on that. But then also the word leave, leave. It's like leaving the state of being. One of my favorite definitions of a belief is a thought that you continue to think. And a thought is a filter over a higher truth. Okay, because the energy system goes from, if we're speaking elementally, and densities, earth, I'm talking about the root chakra going from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the numbers go higher, but traditional formats or whatever, 1 through 7, 1 through 9, but anyway, it goes earth, water, fire, air, sound, light, ether, or thought. So above that, I mean, it keeps going. We have a limited, we've got some limitations in order to have this physical experience. We have to have those limitations. They help us to be here. Like, we have to have the limitation of the physical body. It's like the gravity suit. You know, if you go into a different atmosphere, you go into space, you're going to need some different things. So we had to, like, don this suit. But anyway, like, above, there is something above ether and thought. And it's above or beyond thought. Meta. Meta just means above or beyond. The meta, physical, above or beyond the physical. And that's where the truth lies. That's where the truth exists. You know, and putting the word truth on it it just changes it. It's like you've got to experience it. The words automatically change it. But, you know, I'm using words as a medium right now, so I've got to use the words. We're at 11 minutes. Okay, I was only going to talk for a second. See, I can ramble. Just feel like talking. Feel like chatting. It's like in that meditative space, it's almost like I can see the false stuff. It's like I hear it, I see it. You know, everybody's experience is different. But it's almost like they're not real. They're there. But like that seaweed, whatever underwater plants are called. They were like floating, suspended out in front of me. And the fish were suspended around me. But I wasn't them. They were at a distance from me. And I could just watch them. It's not like they were good or bad or right or wrong. They just were. In that silent, vast, relaxed space, both underwater and in the internal. It's a long way to say my experience with this meditative practice is I keep getting distance. Like the things that are not real keep moving further and further away. Or I keep realizing they are not me. It's part of the environment. It's part of my space, but it's not me. And I can choose to be free in however way I wish to be. I can choose to go dive into some cold water. I can choose to be my total and complete self in all scenarios. It's a matter of doing it, being it. Anything that stops me from that is a false belief, period. It's illusion. That's what this practice is here to generate some heat, some tapas, some fire around the illusion or the false belief, to burn it up, to transmute it. God. Anyway, some thoughts today from me. More later. A good thing is better shared. All right. Love you. Bye.